Hey everybody, PhoenixTalon here, and man, do I have a build for you today. So this is not a tutorial on how to build the thing, okay? I'm just going to come right out and say that. If you guys want a tutorial on how to build this, leave a comment down below and let me know that that's something you'd want to see. This is a tutorial on how to use it. And you're like, well, what is it that we're using? Well, the title should be an indication. This is a brewing station. It's a fully automated brewing station. And then you might say, well, then why do I need a tutorial on how to use it if it's automatic? Well, you got to know how to press a button, okay? And the monkey flips a switch. And that's kind of where we're at, because you can teach somebody how to do something, but if you don't show them and then they screw it up, then you're like, well, I didn't teach you. And the reason I'm not going to do a build video on this right now is it's got a lot of logic behind it and a lot of redstone, that this is more of an advanced type of redstone build. So I might, at the end of this video, get into a little bit about why it works and how it works. But like I said, if you want an actual how to build this video, leave a comment, let me know, and I'll see what I can do for you. With that, let's go ahead and get started. So what is this? This is a brewing station that uses tomes, lecterns. So what you do is normally what I've seen, and you're saying, well, how is this different from the 100 other lectern, potion making machines that are out there? Well, it's different because it allows you to make all 15 base potions with one lectern and using the other lectern to select the various combinations of upgrades. And you're like, oh, well, that's kind of neat because that's different. Most of the other lectern based ones I've seen, they still allow you to make 15 potions or apply the upgrades. But what you have to do is you have to shorten that down. So you can only make, like, let's say your upgrades are going to be redstone, glowstone, and gunpowder, right? Those are the most common upgrades to use. Well, now you've got to subtract 3 potions from your arsenal that you're not going to use. Most people would subtract, like, the turtle because, the turtle master, it's great for resistance, but not great because of the slowness. And then, what would be the other one that most people will get rid of? Maybe the leaping? Poison? Maybe poison? I don't know. Whatever you want to use it for. The point is, this allows you to make all of it. And that's kind of the point that we're getting at here. All right? And I don't know why I didn't include that one. All right, well, I might have to do a little something here to work that. And actually, it's good because then I can show you how and why that works. And we can actually get something out of that. So that'll be good. The point, and you're like, well, what is that? Well, these are indicators on the top that show that the item is being loaded. Like I said, there's a couple of things that I think I still want to change on it, but otherwise it is a done build. I have a schematic for it that I've already saved, PT Auto Brewing Station. So I am going to put this on our server world, which is what the point of this video is. So let's get to it. So how do you use this? Well, you come in, and the very first thing you see on the right here is input the ingredients and your empty glass bottles here. Don't put water bottles in here, okay? It's going to mess up the system. So you put your ingredients, any one of these ingredients that you see here on the wall, including the empty glass bottles. Now, you also will put blaze powder in here. This is the only part of the system that's not fully automated, is right here. You have to manually put blaze powder in here for fuel. That said, however, brewing stands don't use a lot of blaze powder for potions. So really just dumping maybe 2 stacks of blaze powder in here and you're probably good for a while. Depends on how many people are going to use this. Oh, it's getting nighttime. So today. So you would drop your ingredients in here. So let's say I just did a lot of fishing and I've got some puffer fish that I want to drop in here. So I go ahead and drop those in, and then this is going to light up, letting me know that it's going up our very silent item elevator. So that will let you know, hey, the items are being sent around. And then as it makes its way around, it's going to go through the sorting system, which is a pretty standard sorting system. Like I said, there's nothing like super hard in this. It's just cramming it all together makes it an advanced build. So that's going to do that. If this light is out, it means you're out of whatever it's saying. So, for example, I think I can access the glowstone from here. So let's say we do that. So now it's saying we're out of glowstone. Don't try to use that in a potion because it's not going to work. So in that case, we can just boom, boom, boom. And then it's going to go ahead and start restocking. As soon as the stock goes in there, boom, we're in stock. Okay. So we're in business. Now for the turtle hat. Turtle Master Potion. So the reason that this becomes a problem, as you know, is that turtle hats are not stackable. So they don't work with the traditional item separation, item sorting system. So that's why this one's over here off by itself. I could, and I think I'll do it right now since we're here. I could run a comparator out here, and what we could do is this comparator would let us know when things are running through that hopper. The only thing is, though, is that if it fills up to that hopper, this light is always going to be on. I guess that's one way of knowing that, you know, it's, you know, full, I guess. You could do it that way. So what we're going to do is that, and then we're going to repeater that, I think. A couple out here, and then we'll put some repeater there and some redstone there, and then that should handle that one. These are going to be covered anyway, so it's not a big issue. And you can always put a block there. If you just really feel like it, we can just put it there right now. It makes it look nice. So let's go ahead and grab a few of those and test. So just so you can see what it looks like when you're, and we'll throw that in there too. So hopefully that light turns on. We'll see if it does. And, you know, because it takes a while for the items to get all the way around over there. And no? No. Did they not go in? All right, I'll work on that later. Not sure what that's all about. Unless it just didn't go in. So anyway, if you have an item that goes overstock, then it's going to end up right here in this overstock chest. Okay, so like let's say there's an item that doesn't belong in here, it's going to end up right here, with the exception of stackable items. So that I'm not sure why that is not happening, because that should absolutely be reading off of that. Let me see. Maybe it was just so fast it didn't register. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, yeah, it's working. I must have just missed it then. It must have been so fast I missed it. And that's fine. If we really are worried about it, we can always increase the delay on these, and then that would make that work for us a little bit better, I think. So, not too worried about it. I'll work on that later. Not a big deal. The bottles, however, you get a stack of those. You throw that in here. So make sure people on your server, if you put this on there, remember to bring back their empty bottles. You know, reuse and recycle. It'll save you some glass. And then that light will go on letting you know that it's going in. So I think that takes care of all the filling and the idea behind that. So if you do notice a problem with it, let me know and I'll sort it. All right. Yeah, I'll keep that too. Why not? All right. So how to use this after you've gone ahead, you filled it up. If you have overstock, it'll come out here. I don't know if I'm going to put an indicator light letting you know that there's something in there. I think it's pretty easy to just go check it yourself. If not, you know, whatever, you know, lazy. So here, you would start here. You go here, and then this is your potion catalog. Okay, so in your potion catalog, it'll tell you what it is that you're gonna make. Pretty easy, right? We start off with potion of strength. We got potion of fire resistance, regeneration, slow falling, turtle master, leaping, poison, water breathing, night vision, invisibility, healing, harming, swiftness, slowness, weakness. Okay. And all of these are completely craftable just by using this. So if you don't want any upgrades, you're done right here. Okay. So like, let's say we want, oh, I don't know, poison. Poison's fun, right? Night vision, invisibility. Invisibility. Let's do invisibility. I like that one. So we do invisibility. It tells you what the items are that are going to be used here. Netherwort, golden... And the reason it tells you, of course, is because I wrote them in here. If you want to do this, obviously, you're going to have to do your own book if you're building it on your own. If not, and you get the... if you guys want me to put the schematic into the you know, like up on the Dropbox, let me know and we can. But if you get these, then I've got books here that you can use. All right. So you've got your invisibility here. It tells you what it's going to use. When you look back here, if you see any of these items out of stock, that is your first clue to look here and see if the potion you're making is, you know, available or not. And this is also why I did it this way with the book. Because I've seen the other ones, and no slight against them. I've seen the potion brewing stations where you have to go, you know, click a button, click a button, click a button. Well, then you still need to know how to make the thing, right? Where this, you don't have to know anything. You just have to look and say, okay, I need another wort, carrot, and a fermented spider eye. But I don't really have to look because they're all in stock. So, you know, it's only when something is out of stock then you say, oh, I'm out of stock of this. I'm not going to make that. I need to go get some of it. All right. And then that's how you know, support the brewing station, support the server type thing. Potion of Invisibility can be upgraded with Redstone. And it lets you know right here. So you say, well, I want it upgraded. I want 8 minutes of invisibility. So what you do is you come over here and you select your upgrades. So you've got Redstone. You could do Redstone. But I don't want Redstone. I want a Splash Potion. Okay, I want to be able to make a group of us invisible. So I come over here, not glowstone, Splash Potion, regular. It tells you it needs gunpowder, right? So you see here, obviously Redstone, obviously glowstone, but Splash Potion, maybe you don't know. Hey, it needs gunpowder. Then you come over here, Redstone, Splash, gunpowder. That's what I want, okay? So it lets me know I'm going to use a Redstone, I'm going to use a gunpowder. Otherwise, if I wanted to go on, I could do a lingering. But it lets you know here. Lingering potion duration is 25% of the non-lingering duration, meaning when you hit a lingering potion down on the ground, the duration is not going to be 8 minutes. It's going to be, I think, what is that? About 25% is 2 minutes. So it's going to be 2 minutes long instead of 8 minutes long. Well, I don't want that. I want a full 8 minutes. So we're going to come back over here. We're going to do, what was it? Redstone, Splash, gunpowder. So we're going to hit done. Then you got to turn the upgrades on. And that's it. You're done. All right. If you just want upgrades all the time, you just leave that on. That's fine. Now you come back over here and you just start brewing. Then you hear the minecarts leave and the light goes on. The minecarts go down here to pick up the items. There's another minecart over there that pauses for a second. I'll explain that later. Then they come back up and they start doing the brewing. And that's it. It's hands off. You don't have to do anything. You just sit here and wait. And in fact, you're like, well, how will I know when it's done? Well, there's two ways. There's an auditory cue and then there's a visual cue. The light will turn off when it's done and you'll have an auditory cue to let you know. And all your potions are delivered right here to this chest. So all we got to do is wait for it. Now, there's actually 2 or 3 auditory cues. As you notice, it goes glurg, 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 right? Because it's a brewing stand. The second one, there's going to be a refilling of bottles, and it's going to go chukka, 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 chukka. That's fine. That just lets you know it's on the very last ingredient that's happening. All right? Which is fine. So you don't have to pay attention to that. There's a different auditory cue, which is a lot cuter, that lets you know that it's done. And I'm pretty sure you guys can hear that in the audio. So when it comes up, here, let me make it morning again. All right, there we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to wait, and you'll hear the chick, 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 chick. And that'll let you know that the last ingredient is actually brewing at that time. Then we're going to get the fun times. Maybe I should have picked a shorter one. Doesn't matter. Actually, you know, the funny thing is, too, is you could be here selecting your next potion if you want to, right? You don't have to sit here and wait. You just can't send it again because it won't work while it's brewing. Oh, so there's the chick, 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 chick I was talking about. And then you're going to get a auditory cue here in a moment. But yeah, it won't send for another group of potions while it's brewing. And that's important because you don't want to clog up the system. There goes ding dong. And there's your potions. So it lets you know that now I have my Splash Potion Invisibility. So we'll just splash that down. And I have, you know, roughly 7 minutes. Splash potions, they depend on where the splash hits. So I think the closer it gets to your head, the longer it lasts. Or maybe it's closer to your feet. I don't know. Somebody look that up for me because I don't actually know. But I know that their timing is slightly reduced based off of all that business. So that's that. That's how you make those potions. It's really simple. And then if you want the next potion, we've got, we could do Potion of Turtle Master. We could do Netherwort Turtle Shell. and glowstone, let's say. Yeah, let's do glowstone. So we come over here. I'll grab the glowstone, and we'll just hit start. And that's really that easy, guys. I can't make this any dumber and easier than this. I mean, it is seriously the easiest machine to use. The hardest part is putting the ingredients in here, getting your overstock there, and filling your brewing fuel here. All right, that's really the hardest part. That it literally is. And then while this is brewing, let me show you back here. You're like, well, what's this door for? So this is kind of like, okay, we have a problem. So we look in here, and you can see the brewing stand brewing. The ingredients are housed up here or up here, depending on, at what stage they're in. Water bottles are fed in through here. That's why you hear that chick, 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 chick is on the last ingredient, because right here it's activating, allowing those bottles to fill here, but it's not allowing those bottles to go in here yet. And it's just part of the machine. See, there it goes. There's bottles in here now. Okay. And while it does that, then it's refilling them with water here. And I'll get to that. This is not my device. That part right there, the automatic water filling machine, I got that from somebody, and I'll give credit where credit's due. All right. So there it goes. And then there's the ding dong. Okay. So a couple of things that might have to happen. If something in the system is wrong and you've got to send the minecarts back out for whatever reason, like, something got sent, but the minecarts didn't go, or there's ingredients sitting down here, something broke, right? And you got to send the minecarts, then you can send them with this button here. No ingredients are going to be made, but they're going to get sent. Now, the next part is that when they come back, this RS latch, this RS NOR latch, or no, sorry, no, this is a T flip-flop, excuse me. It's not an RS latch, just scratch that. Forget I said that. T flip-flops and RS latches are completely different. Anyway, it's a T flip-flop, and it's flipping and flopping when the minecarts leave. All that is it's helping power this indicator, okay? So when they come back and there's no ingredients being brewed and nothing's happening, that indicator should be off. And the way to make it go back to off is to flip this button right here. All right, and then that will turn that off. Now, if the indicator is flipped on for whatever reason, or it needs to be flipped on for whatever reason, that button will flip the flop back to the floppy flip. All right, so there you go. And then you can just, flippy to flop it back to the flipper. I don't know. Anyway, so I can't imagine that you'd need anything else going on here, but you could also, if you were building this, you could make like a little staircase that comes down and goes and looks at the back here, goes and sees all the different inventories and stuff. Honestly, if you're worried about overfilling, you don't have to, because it's going to come back here. If you're worried about underfilling, you don't have to, because the lights will turn on when you're underfilled, when you're out of stock. So I really don't see, a problem with that. Another thing that people might be wondering is, why did I use a silent elevator like this and not water? Well, the reason for that is very simple. When you throw water bottles, empty water bottles, into a water stream, they fill up. If you dispense water bottles into, like an item dropper into the water stream, they fill up. I mean, that's the whole point, right? That's why the automatic water fillers do work. So you would end up getting a whole bunch of full water bottles, and you're like, yeah, but that's what I want, right? Well, no, because you have one ingredient, thank you, Mojang, one ingredient that is a non-stackable item, and that's this one. So that wouldn't work, because this is sorting the non-stackable items, which means if you had another non-stackable item over here, then this filter wouldn't work, because it would pull it over there, or whichever one happens first. In this case, the water separate or the bottle separator comes first. So it would pull that as well if it was another non-stackable item. So that's why that's way over here, and that's happening that way. Okay. So this device right here is not mine. I didn't make this. I copied it directly from K1 Inc. If you've never seen K1 Inc.'s channel, watch it. Holy smokes, this dude is amazing. I'm going to leave a link. It's not like he needs any help anyway, but credit where credit's due. I mean, he's got like 1 billion subs, and he's really good at Redstone. I would say of my two favorite Redstoners is probably K1 Inc. and obviously Mumbo Jumbo. So just take that for what it is. He's got a lot of great stuff on there, and the fact that his tutorial was so super easy to follow and modify, I just had to modify it very slightly to get it to fit into my machine. That's it. Slight modifications. Otherwise, works like a champ, and he's really good. So it works great. I'm not even going to get into it because he's got a great video that explains it completely. If you want to see the actual device, I built it over here. Right here. Don't ignore this. I was testing something. Let me put the thing back here. I think he put a trapdoor on this side, I want to say. Did I just totally... I did. Alright. There we go. Yeah. So, this is why I build all my stuff up, in case you didn't know. Because I always spilling water everywhere. So yeah, this guy, K1E, great dude, great build, works like a champ. Go check out his channel. Link will be down below. So that's where you get your water bottles from. This hopper chain, if you don't like this where it is, move it. I mean, really, it just has to get out at least as far as this. But if you move it out any further, I would say probably out to here would be the limit, unless you want to try to sneak it past here, which I don't know why you'd want to waste that much material, but it works here, and your ceiling is literally going to be right here. Well, maybe not there, but maybe like here, I guess, because you kind of want to leave those open. So yeah, I mean, that's like where your ceiling is going to be, so you're not going to see it. And it's close enough to the build that it shouldn't matter. It's not the tallest thing on the build. This is over here. That one block makes it 14 blocks tall. Or 12 blocks tall, right? 12 blocks? I think that's what it is, 12 blocks. Yeah, 12 blocks. This is the actual size. It's 32 by 31 and 12 blocks tall. So you can't, yeah, it's pretty cool. So let's get into I mean, that's the how to use it. That's real easy. And then when you're done, grab your potions and, there you go. I'm not going to use a slowness potion. That's just dumb. But you can build it if you want. It's here. All right, so let's get into how it kind of works so you understand it. And I'm not going to get into how to build it, but I do want to get into the how it works. So this inventory sorting system is pretty standard. I know of like 3 or 4 different types of inventory sorters. I have one over here somewhere. What do I do with you? I use this one primarily when I'm doing sorters. Not that one, this one. I use this one primarily when I'm doing sorters because you can stack them and do all that. They only require 22 items in the filter as filter items. And they can, well, that's not 22 because this stacks to 16. Here, let me use a better example. All right, emeralds. There we go, 22. So you use 22 items for your filter. It has overstock protection, comes over here, and all your extra, stuff that you don't need comes over here. But the 16 stackable items, you have to know what it stacks to, and then you'll know what your output has to be. What I couldn't fit this one in with was where the redstone torch ends up. I needed to be 1 block out further. And so what I did was I ended up... Oh, and incidentally, if you guys want me to do a video on my flying train, you guys let me know. So this one here... did I break something there? I don't know why that's there. That shouldn't be there. There we go. Yeah, let's fix that. Okay. I must have been playing around with something earlier because I'm pretty sure I had this already done and then I did that unless it reverted a save. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, the point is that I needed this torch to be back one because I didn't want it to angle the hopper and then come down again. But this one, because you're going farther, requires more oomph. So you end up with 44 items of filter item. All right. And all a filter item has to be is just something that's never, ever, ever going to be inserted into the system. Because as soon as I put you could go to an anvil and name these or whatever you want to do, something different that just in case, and call it like filter item for brewing stuff. I don't, whatever. As long as it's something that'll never, ever, ever be in here. And I can't imagine why anybody would drop cobble in here, but there are idiots, and they do happen. So, you know. What can you do? You don't actually have to turn that on and off. It doesn't do anything other than allow the things to get done. So this is your standard sorter, comes around, does its sorting business. So it looks complicated, but it's not. This is the stackable sorter. Notice it's coming across on this one. So what's happening is, as items come across here, it's sensing for a non-stackable item right here, non-stackable item. I correct myself. So when it sees a non-stackable item here, what it does is it then unlocks this hopper. All right, and when it unlocks that hopper right here, then it allows the non-stackable item to pass through. That's all this does. Okay, that's it. It's that simple. You don't want to overthink this one. All right, and it works like this. And yeah, it's so fast the light doesn't come on. That's weird. I'll have to check that and figure something out. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I really don't care. I suppose I could just read it off of something. Whatever. I just don't. I don't know how often you're going to use the turtle shells anyway. And as long as you see that it's not out of stock, these are kind of like an add-on last minute. So then anything that doesn't find a home is going to come over here and then end up in here. And that's all that's for, okay? So, like, just as an example, I'll go ahead and dump a chest in there. And then here in a couple of minutes, I hope it's not a couple of minutes. In a few seconds, this is going to come out with a chest popping in right here. And, yeah, that's where that's going to be. So that's your standard sorting system. There's nothing too intense about it. There it goes, see? There's nothing impressive about it. And that is the entire top of this machine. All right. So that's the top of the machine. So you ignore that. The rest of this is really, really stupid simple. Okay. That's literally the most complicated part of this machine. Now, this section right here that we're looking at, that's framed in camera, is this. I made this as a prototype to make sure this would even work, to make sure this was even possible. And, you know, obviously it is. So I just numbered these 1 through 15. You can do, and this is the cool thing, you can do any number of pages. Like 8, for example, is what we're using over here. It's just that it skips, and I'll show that one over there. That's the prototype for that machine. So with this one, what you see here is that I've selected 10, and you're like, well, wait, but it's not on. That's because it requires this to be used. Then you hear it go clicky click. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that on as if we've pressed the button. So now you can see how this is working. So when we come around, this is not 1. This is 0, and this is always pretty much always powered. All right, so you can't really use that for anything, and I didn't use it for anything. Okay. Then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Notice 10 is not powered. So I can grab 10 right here, and I can tell 10 that it needs to go ahead and fire off. Now this looks a little weird because this is where you have the dual ingredients right here. But needless to say, it's that easy. So like, let's say for example, I go for something like 4. All right. So you go here, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. 4 is firing. And 4 is going to drop that item down into this chest, which is going to go feed right into this hopper. And you say, well, why aren't you feeding it directly into the hopper instead of the chest? I don't know. I've had pretty good luck with droppers putting items into chests. I haven't had a whole lot of, like every now and again, maybe it's a Minecraft thing. Every now and again, I'll run into an issue where a hopper doesn't take an item properly, or it gets spit off to the side, or something ends up. If you feed it into a chest, that's never going to happen. So I just do that, and I've always done it. But if I have the ability to do it, then I do it. So I had the ability, so we did it. So that's how that one fires off. When you go to a different one, so now we're going to go back to 10. You'll see 10 fire off over here. Now you'll also see 10 fire off there. And the reason for that is if you count this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is where you need a golden carrot and the fermented spider eye. And the way that works is you come off over here, and it's going to go ahead and allow 10 to fire, which is your golden carrot. But then it's going to come off over here, and it's going to select this. This right here is allowing the fermented spider eye to also fire from below. See right here? It's firing from below. So that's how you get that. And you say, well, why does the golden carrot also have this one? Well, this one is for when you select 9, which is the previous potion. So not only did I have to think about how to organize this, I also had to think about how to do the logic to get it to fire off both of them. So here comes this one right here, firing that one off. But notice back here, it's not firing off the fermented spider eye. So you're going to get this potion instead, which is your night vision, and then this is your invisibility. Okay? Then, of all the 15 potions, or of the 15 potions, 14 require netherwort. Okay? So that's this logic circuit right here. And you say, well, why do you need a logic circuit for 14 potions? Because the 15th potion doesn't require anything except fermented spider eye. So what happens here is we get a comparator signal from here, which is a power 15, comes out as a power 15. And what this is doing is it's saying, okay, well, I'm going to check and see if this is a power 15 or not. And if it is, then we're not going to fire this off. Right? So if it's anything less than 15, this will fire. All right? So you'll see what I'm saying here in a second. So if I go to 15, you'll see that this all turned off, and this is not going to fire. All right? See what it did here? It compared the signal. So if I come back, you see now it's going to fire off. All right? So when we do 15 over here, this one is 15, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15. And this is going to fire off over here. Okay? So how do we get this signal to be interrupted at that one spot? Well, the trick of that is to run a subtract. All right, so the comparators are good for two things. You can compare and you can subtract. So what this does is it takes the existing signal coming in from here. Oh, and then that's the other cool thing. You can extend a comparator signal by feeding it through a block and grabbing a comparator off the other side. It's always going to feed that signal one block, and then if you keep pulling it, it'll always be that signal strength. So it's pretty cool. So what this is doing is it's subtracting the signal from 15 right here. So when it subtracts the signal coming in from 15, what you're left over with is that value. In this case, it is 15. It's subtracting 15. Your value is 0. Because your value is 0, the spot directly in front, meaning, advanced one because I gave it a comparator here, but the spot directly in front of that is going to be 0, which is this spot right here. That's bad. Let me put that back. That's not the block that goes there. There we go. All right. So that's why. If we give it a 14, now it's subtracting 14 from 15, right? Because here's 15, here's 14 coming in, and the answer is 1. So you say, yeah, but then why does that create a dead zone here? Well, that's because this is technically 1, but it's 0 for the purposes of our machine here. Because this is going to be of signal strength 14, right? There it is right there, power 14. So that being 14 is 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 9, 10, 3, 2, 1, 0. You see? So that will only stretch around that far. So you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I like that. That's fun. So what did you do over here? Because that doesn't look like a circle. Well, remember I said my comparators can increase or can forward off their signal by 1 if you put it in front of a block. So that's what I did here. So that I could have a nice straight line. Could I have made it like that? Yes, but I would have had to route some seriously weird redstone just to make it to where you could see all the ingredients out here, okay? And you would have had like a weird kind of peninsula type of thing. It would have been really terrible. So that's why we did this. All right. So this is where the signal comes out. Everything else, this should look familiar. It's that. All right. Everything else is still the same. Okay. Everything else is still the same. Nothing's changed, including how this thing gets fired off. It's just a little bit, looks a little complicated because I have a lot of things feeding into the same switch. But essentially this switch right here is what's powering this AND gate over here. And that's it right there. That's the torch for the AND gate. And then all these are feeding into that AND gate. All right. So when this AND gate becomes unpowered, which means everything is true, then that's the full cycle AND. And what's cool about this is I've got like 3 or 4 things feeding into this AND gate. So it's a multi-ended AND gate. You couldn't do this really that well with logic and electronics and that kind of thing. It's only with Redstone that I can say that, yes, that's that easy. All right. So I know we're getting long in this video, but the whole point of this video is to show you how it worked, not to build it. So for this one, it looks complicated, but it's not. And actually, this circuit, believe it or not, is easier and easier to understand than this one. This one is actually really complicated when you think about it. This one is much easier, even though it looks more complicated. And the reason for that is that you only have to deal with 8 pages. And the really fun thing about that is that it's every other one. So, oh, and let me go turn this back on because, you know, I forget things. Or did I already? No, it's fine. The reason that works, by the way, because I wasn't quite done, because it's going to do it over there too, and I should explain it here. This is powering this so that this whole system doesn't fire when you flip the book. That's really why I'm powering this whole line of redstone right here. That's the only reason. Is just so that it doesn't change the power state every time you flip a page. Because like if you notice when I was doing this, everything's going tick, 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 right? Because it's firing those off. If I do this, now nothing fires off, right? So that's why you do that, so that nothing fires off while you're selecting it. And if you do it smartly, you use inverted signals, and then you don't have to worry about it. Same thing over here. These are fully powered because, you know, Zethurza thus spoke. So there you go. So this signal comes out, and like I said, you only have to worry about every other one. I don't remember if I have ingredients in there or not, but I'm going to turn this off and hope that I don't. So we're on page 1, and you notice this is where page 1 is going to come out, okay? So when I go to page 2, you're going to notice something, or I'm sorry, that was page 8, excuse me. Let me try that again. So page 1 should be here. There we go. That's why it makes sense. All right, so that's off. That's feeding this one. Page 2 is going to be over there, and you'll see that here. So we go to page 2, and we're over here now because it skips one. So when you half the book, basically the half the total pages, it still puts out a 15 level signal strength, even though you only use 8 pages. But depending on how many pages you have, you're going to get the percentage back in redstone strength. All right, so you're always going to get a 15 out. So even though you say, well, I only have 8 pages, so I only need to worry about 8 signal strength. That's not how it works. It's always going to output a 15. So you need to be able to decode the 15 by learning and using how many pages. It just so happened I got really, really lucky in that there's only 8 different combinations of upgrades, right? So that was very lucky for me. Also, what was lucky is that the fact that lingering requires glowstone. So that ended up being pretty nice. So getting back to it. So when the redstone is fired off, the redstone comes over here and starts powering this AND gate. So anything that uses redstone, it's funny because it's always separated here by 6. So you come over here, that's 1, breaking things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it makes it super easy to set up this cute little horseshoe shape, if you will, and having the 3 torches come together, and having the 3 torches power this, and having that power the redstone. That's what I'm saying. It looks complicated, but it's absolutely not. It's absolutely much easier. And then you're saying, okay, well then where did you run the glowstone? Glowstone is below. So when you go to the glowstone, you have the same thing, only instead of using torches up here with the repeaters, I use the torches down here, also separated by 6. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then so on to 6. And then that's the one that we're using. Then you have that happening down here, which allows these to get powered. Now, it would be a little bit less complicated looking if the routing was easier, but it's not. Routing sucks down here. So it is what it is, but the logic is much easier. And then that's going to route all the way up here into this really, really stupid formation and power the glowstone right there, which was actually having stuff. So yeah, I am feeding stuff every time I do this. As far as, like I said, gunpowder and potion of lingering. All right, so splash potion and lingering potion both use, you know, if you do this right, again, if you do this right, you've got redstone splash. Well, that's going to give you the redstone. Where are you? Okay, redstone here. All right, but then over here, I made this so easy. This one is just enough to compare to the signal for the splash potion for the gunpowder, so that when it's over this amount of signal strength, it will then feed in here saying, yes, we're on that page of the book. We're at this signal strength. We're going to go ahead and allow the gunpowder to go through. And then that is just going to feed down here. That's going to feed down here. And then that's going to fire off this gunpowder over here. Okay? Which it is, if you see that. It is firing that off. Lingering is the same way. The lingering one is towards the end of the book, but it still requires gunpowder. So what's cool about this is now you run these two together. So the lingering also is beyond what the gunpowder is using. So that means you just basically, think of it in stages. So over here, you've got redstone, glowstone. Then next level is gunpowder, because now you've gone up strength. And gunpowder, gunpowder, gunpowder all the way across. But then somewhere along here, you go up a level and it's lingering. So now you have regular, regular, gunpowder, 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 lingering, gunpowder, all the way across. And that's kind of how you have to think about it, so that you know that you get both of these to continue to fire. So when you've got your lingering, it just increases that strength right here. But if you'll notice, the gunpowder one is still firing off too. Okay, so when you come over here, you've got both of these firing off right here. All right, so that's just lingering, right? So there you go. See, this is what I was talking about. I like to use this sorting system, but when I started going over there, I was like, you know what? I can go ahead and convert to the other one and make it just a little bit easier and easier to work with, and make the redstone routing a little better. All right, so that's how you get all your selections working. So if you're going to build this, that's what you got to do. You got to build it that way. This one right here is really, really simple. This is just the minecarts going out. And then what I noticed is minecart, and you're like, well, why do you have a delay on this one? And there's a huge reason for this. So don't change this delay. You need this. All right. It will break the machine if it doesn't delay. So if you're like, well, I don't like that the minecart's delayed. Well, tough, because you need it. All right. When you go here, the minecart going here is picking up the normal ingredients, the initial ingredients you need. Here's the thing, though. You could have, what is it, 3 ingredients here? 1, 2, 3. And you're like, okay, well, then why don't you just run the minecart around and go pick up the upgrades? You could potentially have 3 more upgrades, because the potions will only ever accept either redstone or glowstone, but all of the potions can be turned into splash and or lingering. Well, lingering requires the use of gunpowder, and then if you've upgraded it with glowstone or redstone, now you have 3 more ingredients. Minecarts, or hopper minecarts, only hold 5 items. So I had 2 choices. One, I could use chest minecarts. Okay. Or I could use hopper minecarts. Hopper minecarts are faster. And this is where I come into this. So because these are hoppers here, I could use chest minecarts, which is why I left this open. Hopper minecarts are just slightly faster. Also, so I could route it the whole way around. Also, the other thing is, this is just cool. It's just fun to have 2 minecarts leave and go pick up items and come back. And then they're stacked like this. I don't know. This is just fun. So once I thought of this, I was like, this is just cool. I want to do this now. And it became like a thing. So what's happening back here is when it comes and picks up the ingredients, they will stack down here. But by the time they've left this minecart and gone in here, the first ingredient's already been used. So that one has already come out. The first ingredient's in the machine already. And now the other ingredients have stacked across the hopper like this. Okay. So then the other ingredients will start to come down. So that's kind of how it works, and it keeps it all nice and tidy and in order. And because we're only talking about a potential total of 6 ingredients, it worked. So I went with it. And that's why I did it that way. Yes, you could do it with a chest minecart and probably do some other stuff. But I just thought that looked really cool. And also, if I started having a problem with the hoppers for whatever reason, I could always just come back and get rid of them and lift the minecart up, and, it would be 1 block higher. I don't know. It's up to you however you want to do it. This one is really cool. This is the actual brewing system right here, and it's the last component I'm going to get into. You get your water bottles that feed in through here because of K1's really awesome bottle filling tool, which is still, I can't. When I found that on the YouTube, I was like, you gotta be kidding me, this is great. It's like, how does nobody else have this? So I can't even explain just how awesome that was. Brewing is really easy in this one. So what I figured out you had to do, so I see a lot of these where they have the automatic brewing where you've got to go into the brewing stand and take it out. I didn't want that. I wanted it to be delivered into the chest. All right, that is what I wanted. And I didn't, but one of the problems I kept running into is it would keep filling the bottles. You don't actually have to have that, by the way. You can fill it up, it's fine. I was testing something and it worked, so I was like, okay, I'll keep it there because it worked. But what will happen here is you have to lock this hopper in order to stop things leaving, and stop the bottles leaving. So when this comes over, you essentially have to have it stop. But you don't, it's funny because you don't have to have it stop right away. You can let it go by 1. So what I did is I had it come out this hopper. So as soon as the first ingredient goes through, it actually locks this hopper using this decay timer here. And then you've got a decay timer over here. What's a decay timer? So a decay timer, I don't actually know what they're legitimately called, if that's what it's called, but a decay timer, I've got one somewhere that's just sitting around. This is my build world in case you hadn't figured it out already. Is this it? Here we go. So a decay timer is simply thus. It activates, it waits, and when it decays, it goes out. That's all it is. So it gives you a lot more time to work with than like a repeater chain. So wherever you say like, oh, we'll just put in like 8 repeaters, you don't have to put one of these in. All right. And I think this is still even longer than 8 repeaters. So, or it's about the same, something like that, but it takes up less space. So whatever. So it actually activates these decay timers here. And when that happens, a couple of things happen. It actually stops these bottles from coming through with long enough time for this to start activating. Because what'll happen here is when it has items in here, this will go ahead and be powered, which will continue to power this. Once the items are gone, however, it actually is still powered for a little while it activates this timer. This is an actual hopper clock. And this hopper clock has 24 items in it. Because what ends up happening is it feeds the 24 one way, and then it feeds them back the other way. And when it feeds them back the other way, it's still on. And that is necessary in order for... so the way it works is, you see there's nothing in it right now. It feeds them from here to the other side, one at a time. Okay? And as it goes over, there is one more potion that's brewing, even though there's no items in here. So that is the approximate time for one brewing, okay? At least from what I found. I think I figured out I could go with 22, but it was cutting it super close. And I was like, you know what? I think it's just better to err on the side of caution. And really, it just, you never know, right? You never know. Just give it a little bit of margin, and then it was fine. But that is what is releasing this bottom part here. This other part over here, these bottles, these are being released when this timer happens. So what I found out is that I could activate this and block that hopper from moving, right? Basically lock it. And then I could unlock this hopper immediately thereafter. That's why you have no delay here and you have full delay here. Because then this hopper will lock, then this hopper will unlock and stay unlocked for a little while. And then when the last ingredient goes through, this one is no more. It's kaput. And then that's when this clock starts. Last ingredient's happening. This one is still active. Last ingredient fades. Everything's fine. Everything goes down and we're good. It sounds complicated, but it's actually super simple. This ready signal right here is just saying, right now it's just saying when the last ingredient has happened. But what I ended up doing instead was it's keyed in here, obviously, to this timer. But I did something a little different on the actual machine, is I tied it into, instead of activating the hoppers, I had that ready signal activating this doorbell sound and turning off this light. So that's the difference. I only did it that way so that I'd have a visual cue of the minecart leaving and then all that stuff. This is just a prototype. So that's the last part of it, and you throw all that together and you get a really, really nice system here. I didn't get into the actual routing of the minecart. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. Linking it all together is just really, really weird redstone routing, and that's why things look the way they do, especially right here, because I had a lot of circuitry that I had to fit in a very small space. So I just did it as efficiently as I possibly could, including the hopper routing, because you've got to be careful because there's a lot of power going on around here. And you don't want your potions leaving here through a block that is supposed to be powered at that time. So some of these, it's funny, some of these are actually powered and unpowered at various times. But ultimately what it ends up being is unpowered all at the right times. So there are some crossovers, but I intentionally did it that way, because it just made routing a lot easier. So it was more straightforward. So I'll look at that and I'll figure out what's going on with that. I probably messed something up that's something really obvious and everybody's like, ah! I really don't care. Actually, I think it's because that's powered. I mean, I suppose I could run this power over top. Actually, I might do that. That would be funny. It would just make it taller. But I'll look at that and I'll see. But otherwise, it works really well, and it's a great system. I mean, it's just an indicator light. I really don't care if the indicator works. I really don't. I can't imagine you're putting a lot of turtle shells in there anyway. If somebody's using Potion of Turtle Master, I mean, why? What? Somebody tell me what it's good for other than the high resistance. You're slow. I mean, you're literally super slow. I've tested it. It's really bad. So yeah, if you want an actual tutorial build on this, you can see it would be over an hour, which this video is quickly becoming. And the next thing is, if you want to see the flying machine station, this thing is epic. Leave me a comment also. This is the guts without the shell on it. Sort of. There's some differences, obviously. But it's a really, really fun build. And I had a great time building this a long time ago. I say a long time ago. It's been a year, I think, almost, since I built this thing. But it's really epic. I've never seen anything like it. And then I've got a few other builds in this crazy world. If you guys want to see any of this stuff, you're like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted a minecart door, Like, who has that, I don't know anybody that has one of these. So let me know if you've ever wanted to see one of these, where you can have an actual door for your minecart. I don't know if anybody's got one, but leave me a comment. Let me know if you guys want to see that. It's super easy. It's just timing. If you ever want to see a elevator that goes up out of the fountain all the way up to something like super high, you get off and it comes back down, and then when you're ready to leave, you just whee, so you stand on here and you go like that, and then you just go up in, you come out and it goes down. Yeah. I mean, if you guys like that kind of stuff, let me know. I can show you how to make this stuff. It's really stupid simple. You know, and you know, if you got, and you could even do it with like some like really cool wireless redstone or something fun like that. So yeah, just let me know what you guys would like to see. If you guys need a minecart system that moves, there we go, like that. You know, if you need something like that, let me know. It's actually dual activated. There's 2 ways to activate it, with this or with this, but since they happen so close to each other, we'll only ever activate it at one time, and you can turn it back off if you want. That's it. So if you need fun stuff like that, let me know. I'll give you some tutorials. Just let me know what you guys want to see. But this is what I've been working on for a couple of days, and I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to share it. And actually, I didn't want to share it because you know the internet is a terrible place, but I've been told that I should share it, so I did, and there you go. All right, that concludes the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you stayed till the end. If you did, thank you so much. Consider subscribing and giving me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, that's fine. Just, you know, move on. It's cool. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Peace.
Peace. Yeah, peace. That's right. We got to do peace, right? Peace.